And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Al Bob. Hope you're doing well. I'm fine. Just had a nice lunch back here, and they definitely make good food and at a price I can afford. Did all my little errands, but this is my last outside meal, I guess. I'm down to my pennies. So if you could send something to my PayPal. Remember, that's the dudewake42 at Gmail. Dudewake42 at Gmail. Um, I know the Ukraine thing is going on. Um, well, I mean, nothing is as it seems to be. You guys don't realize that this is a bait and switch, hoodwink. You know, I keep saying, asking people who think they know, is Vlad reading a script, or did he just flip a switch? Um, because he's destroying Ukraine. I mean, there is no real political upside to what he's doing, and because he may be keeping right at this moment all what's going on in Ukraine from his people, but once they find out, man, they're not going to be happy with this. And the time has, he said, "Oh, we have this special little military thing. Shouldn't take too long, maybe a day or two." And now it's like, second month. People know what's going on. It's too much like what happened in Afghanistan. And yes, all the conscripts are people who came from the hinterlands, and so it's going to take a while before all those moms and dads get upset that their kids aren't coming back. And when it comes down to realization, yes, he's using all their old stuff, using that up, right? Still, that costs money to replace, right? And if Ukraine can kick Russia's butt like they're doing with just weapons that we give them, and not really big, and they don't have an air force, they don't have an artillery, they don't have. Yes, they have some nice anti-air and tank missiles, shoulder fire, but that's about it, and some other stuff. And they're getting more, and and compared to what Vlad has at his disposal, what we're sending him is nothing. And he's like, "Oh man, if you," and my sense is that once he really turns on, I mean, Mariupol, they haven't given up yet, and until Russia takes that place and really, those guys still stay there and can harass Russia. I mean, already you look at what Mariupol was before, and now what it is now. It's dirt, right? Dust, and so it's and there's probably somewhere between 10,000 and 100,000 civilians there, right? And now Vlad just said, "Okay, we're just we surrounded Mariupol, you know, um, and we're going to let everyone out, yeah." And you army guys who want to stay there and go down fighting, not a problem. But we'll let even the military guys, just leave your guns there and walk out. Take off your uniforms and walk out. I'll let you get on the bus and head west. And that would go real far to changing the optics. But he's not. He's going to just kill everyone, right? That's not his own people. The Russian people won't stand for this. So that's why I think Vlad's either reading a script or he's flipped a switch, And so, I mean, he's been the bag man. He has been the fixer for all of the oligarchs and Russian politicos for the last 30 years, right? And he's a I mean, he's a multi-billionaire, right? He's had his money all over. Oh no, he lives like a priest. He doesn't live in a big house. Why you see any pictures of him? He's in these big fancy, that big white room where everything's gold, and he's sitting on one side and everybody's on the other side. Now, I mean, nothing is as it seems to be. And so you realize, and when you connect what America did when it went into Iraq in 91 and then again in 2003, I mean, we killed 1 million people in Iraq for no real reason at all, right? Saddam Hussein, he was on our payroll, right? And I bet you then, I saw the video of him getting hanged, and the guy who came out that door and then down those steps and walked across the room and then went up onto the thing, he was wearing a really nice suit. He was wearing a camel's hair coat, and the guy the whole time was like doing this. So it was a guy who looked a lot like Saddam, and he never wore any clothes like this. He goes, he had no idea that he was going to get hung. Didn't even know what it was, and just came out that door, went down. Everyone looked at him and gave him like a nod of respect, and he was feeling top of the world bomb. And he gets up on that podium. He looks around. They put the noose around his neck, hit the button, boom, he's gone. I bet you Saddam Hussein's like, in New Jersey someplace running a falafel stand. So, and, end of World War II, Germany bombed into Stone Age and split up. But the Nazis, they were in their little underground, deep underground military base in Antarctica, and they were on the moon, and they were on Mars already. They had already picked up all of the sacred information and technology, and that's who's been flying sources all over the place, right? And we have been infiltrated. Hail Hydra. End of World War II, all the Nazis, Operation Paperclip comes into our country. And Werner von Braun, he's a nice Nazi, not really. But we do have people like this who really are solid human beings. And this is where we should be focusing.
So, when I was 13 years old, that's a dangerous thing. But there we go. So, when I was 13 years old, I was in a Boy Scout troop up on Starry Creek. Mm-hmm. We had a guest speaker that came one night named David Light, who later became an invited. He said, I want to show of hands. If you could vote today, how many of you would vote? Okay. And, he told us probably 2/3 of us didn't raise their hands. And then he went on to say, why? Are you so happy with the way things are being done that you don't want to say so? Right. And so after he spoke about 30 minutes, he asked the same question. He said, now, if you can vote, would you vote? And after learning that you have a responsibility for what direction this country is, whether it be a state election, a local election, or a national election, we have a voice, and if we don't voice that by voting, then we have no right to complain about the way things are done.
And that is so true. But just because you vote, that's not the end of your responsibility.
That's true.
You need to be like, hold those guys' feet to the fire.
That's true.
And that's where we kind of let go of the reins.
Okay.
Because we don't even watch what those guys do. And today, things have gotten so corrupt that we have the best legislators money can buy. Right?
All right, now let's back up.
Now, you may have one or two good guys, but they don't last too long.
But let's back up.
Okay.
The founding fathers were not paid. They were not paid politicians.
Because they were rich guys.
Yes.
And white guys. And they were doing it for their own business interests.
But they did it. They wrote the Constitution for this country.
Which was a miracle.
Yes.
I think they were doing some substance because they sure were altered from what they were doing otherwise, especially Jefferson.
Oh, yes.
I mean, the Declaration of Independence is like mind-boggling. Even to today, it's mind-boggling.
Yes. And how could 5 men come together?
It's more than 5. It's about 100.
But basically, there were 5 men who convinced everyone else
to go along.
Yes. So how could 5 men come together at one point in time that would allow an article like the Constitution to be written? And 200 years later, it's still the best document that's ever been.
Yeah. The problem is it's being used as wallpaper. No one's looking what's behind that wall.
Well, but everything that man gets involved in
gets corrupted.
Yeah, we kind of want it to.
So I drive by and see you here all the time, so I'm real interested in that because I'm a committed guy. I've been involved on every level, right? And I never ran for office because, like I said, it was just too corrupt. I just kept trying to be that voice of sanity to that politician or this person or that person, and they kept me around for a short period of time. But people get too, this is such a beautiful community. It's really interesting. Within Europe for a long time, and I went to the schools would get rid of me because it was like, oh, you can't do that. And I said, wait. See, I talk too much. Tell me how to do it, I talk too much. I should have let him talk. But, I'm an old guy who is alone all the time. That's why I'm asking, hey, come on, come and get me. We can have some fun. The more I'm around people, the more I shut up. So come and get me. Come and visit. Remember, get a hold of me at thedudeawake42@gmail. Thedudeawake42@gmail. Put something down in I really need some help here at my PayPal. Dudeawake42. You have to, the four of you who put in 10 to 20 bucks, that always, I just had my car serviced and, I have all of $12, from that moment. Anyway, so no one's there, no thumbs up, no likes, no nothing. Come on, let's get the show on the road. So I'm going to go. Maybe I'll talk to you tomorrow. Depends on the weather, depends on a lot of things. So I love you guys. You stay well. Here it is 11 minutes and 11 seconds, just like I like to live. Okay? Synchronistically. Toodles.